the Lifestyle for Ministries session on today entitled The State of the Church, Let the Generations Speak. And we're looking at this multi-generational look at what is the state of ministry now, and what does normal look like now, okay? Because we keep hearing this statement, we're tired almost of hearing it for the past 2 years, new normal, new normal, new normal. But now we're like, what does normal look like now? Not just a new normal. What is normal now? What is normal in ministry, and how does it move forward? Would you just join me bowing your heads as we have a word of prayer? Father, in the name of Jesus, we thank you for this session. We thank you for this time. We thank you for these, your people, and for these facilitators. And I ask that you would just bless us, oh God, to be a blessing to your people, to bring clarity, to bring relevance, to be enlightening. Anoint the facilitators, oh God, and use them for your glory. We give you the glory, we give you the honor, and we give you the praise. In Jesus' name, amen. I am Pastor Sandra Riley, and I am the director of the Lifestyle for Ministry. And what we are doing today, we have a different session on tomorrow, but today we want to look at this whole situation of what is the true state of ministry. We have been over 2 years still going through. We're not as bad as we were in March 2020, but technically we're always being reminded that we are still in the midst of a pandemic. And no one is giving us instructions or direction about when it's over. No one has given us an end point for us. Don't know how long we'll be masked up. Come on here, somebody. Don't know how long they'll be changing and giving, saying, take another vaccine and another vaccine to make sure that we can stay healthy. I'm just glad that we are able to be together. Come on, y'all. I'm glad that of that. Get the water. The water. I'm glad we're able to be together. I'm glad we're able to fellowship. I don't mind. I got my mask. It's right there. I'm just not, got my covers here, so that's why I'm talking to you without a mask. But I've got my mask. I don't mind the mask. I like coming together. I like us being able to be together. And really, that's a part of this thing when we're talking about what does normal look like. It means that there's some adjustments we're going to have to make. How long the adjustments will, how long? I don't know. But we've got to be willing to make the adjustments to fulfill purpose and walk in the promise. So I am excited today because we have 2 facilitators that I believe are going to help you, that are going to give you great information, and you will have an opportunity to ask them questions, okay? So as they're talking, write your questions down, and they're going to be ready to answer your questions. We are going to give you that time. First of all, we have Pastor Angela Parker, who is pastoring here in St. Louis, Missouri, and she's going to talk to us more about her ministry. And then we have Evangelist Neechy Dumas. Come on, get somebody from Detroit, Michigan. Y'all know her as our, anything you've been getting them text messages saying, good morning, today is the day where we gonna go to this, this, and this. If you are tired of the text messages, see her. Waking you up early in the morning. That's her. And keeping us informed about what this is all about. I want to start with Pastor Parker because there's some of you that may know her, some of you that may not. And I wanted her to be a part of this panel because of how uniquely God has used her and what he has done. It didn't start in the pandemic. It started prior to the pandemic. Pastor Parker, can you tell us who you are and the name of your ministry?
All right. My name is Pastor Angela Parker. I'm from originally Bethesda Temple with the late, great Bishop James A. Johnson. And thank you, dear. I pastor Partners in Prayer Global Ministries, and I was ridiculed and I was an outsider because years ago, when I started this ministry, I gave it the title in 1998, but I started praying over the telephone in 1995. So I did not realize that. I was going out preaching and doing things, and people said, I wish I could pray like you. I said, what time you want to pray? They weren't looking for that answer. So that's how I got started, not knowing I'm started. So one of the things I want to talk to you about today is your ministry is wherever you are. Dr. Foster told me that, Bishop Foster.
Say what? Your ministry is what?
Wherever you are.
Did anybody, y'all get that? Your ministry is wherever you are. I think if we've ever learned that before, we've learned that in the past 2 years, all right? Well, I'm going to talk to her a little bit more about that. I want Evangelist Neechy, tell us a little bit more about yourself and what you do in the PAW and outside of the PAW.
Yes. Hello, everybody. I'm Evangelist Neechy, Marketing and Publications Director for the Pentecostal Assemblies of the World. So for the PAW, obviously all things marketing, some of the on-camera elements that you all see here and a lot of the behind the scenes. I'm a part of that and definitely humbled to serve. Outside of the Pentecostal Assemblies of the World, I'm a clothing designer. I handle marketing for different sectors, people from The Biggest Loser. I've done things for them, for television broadcast, put things together for that, radio, all things marketing. And then just, a content creator on social media in general. So that is what I do.
And so Evangelist Neechy is that input from a multi-generational, just looking at it from every perspective, because she deals with marketing, not just zeroed in on one group or one generation. And it's important that we understand that even in our new normal and what normal looks like, it looks different to different generations. Do I have any witnesses up in here, up in here, up in here? There's some things that make sense to the millennials and even the Gen X's. Let's be honest, some of the baby boomers have not caught on. They just like, what y'all do? Y'all still asking about where's the face in the book. I don't, but they're different. But what Pastor Parker is going to help us to see is that even with a more seasoned generation, they're still, you can keep up.
Yes.
You just use different methods, and that work for that generation, but you still can keep up. I want you, Pastor Parker, to explain to our audience what your church has been referred to as a church without walls. Is that correct?
Yes.
Can you explain to them what that is?
Okay. A church without walls is a church that's not in a building. And people had problems with me because I was having church every day on the telephone. When I first started off, it was Monday through Sunday, just working. And what we did was the people called in and we prayed, we read the Bible, we healed the sick over the telephone, we dealt with deliverance, healing, all kind of issues, but we did it on the telephone. And then people started calling me when we weren't on the line and all of this. I didn't know at first what I was doing. When I'm saying your ministry is wherever you are, I had no intentions of having a prayer ministry. And I didn't call myself a church without walls. They called it the prayer line when I started out. But when I ended up with no job, and this is all I was doing, I said, Lord, I thought I was going to travel all over the world. He said, you in home gear right now.
Wow.
He said, right now. And it was just 15 people on the prayer line that was giving me no money. I didn't have no money. Big time job at Blue Cross Blue Shield, community relations, doing all kind of big shot business. And then I ended up with no job, with no money. And he told me, oh, he said I was in high gear. You doing it. So you can't look at your situation, at other people and what they're doing, and how they're doing it, how many people they have, and all of that. He's told me to forsake not humble beginnings. So my church without walls is on the phone. And also, at the time when I started, we didn't have virtual. We didn't have the video and Facebook and all of, we didn't have Instagram.
Y'all hear that?
We were connecting on the phone with, what you call that, telephone conference. We didn't have the conference lines like we have now. I had to call you, and then you called the other person, and the other person, the other person. And every
Y'all
time
remember that?
God started moving and we were in high gear, the devil would disconnect us. And we would have to call everybody all over again, again, and again. And that's what we did. We said we're going to do it if we have to do it 20 times, because we're not going to be defeated.
I want to make sure you all understand what she's telling us now. This is before freeconferencecall.com.
Thank you.
Y'all get me? Y'all know how we are. I got a prayer line on freeconferencecall.com.
Right.
I got the one with no access code. Just call one number, and y'all get on, and we all can be 10, could be 1,000. You know what I'm talking about. She started, because your ministry now is what, about 10? It's about
about 20 years old with the name.
But in the council, you've
24 years, I'm
you've been
sorry.
in the council how many?
Pastoring 10.
10 years. Do y'all get what she's saying to us? You call one person, then that person connect another person. Then that person connect another person. Then that person connect another person. Then you get disconnected. Then they got to start all over again. Come on.
Yes.
Don't tell me that's not ministry.
Come on.
Still Hikamashaya, and they saying, we ain't giving up. Get back on the phone. Come on.
Mm-hmm. That was it.
But it worked.
It worked. Yes, ma'am.
When, and I brought out the piece about the council because what I want you all to get to, for especially those of you that are in ministry, no church building, never had a church building. But she is a recognized pastor with a ministry in the Midwestern District Council. Do y'all hear me? And I was told by your bishop, who's a good friend of mine, Bishop Larry Jones. He said, when I brought her in, they were saying she can't come in as a pastor. She don't have a building. How you gonna bring her in as a pastor without a building? And he said, we're a ministerial organization, and she's coming in. Guess what happened 2 years ago? The same bishop told me, some of them people came to him and said, I guess you were ahead of your time. Because ain't no money in the building. We need to talk to Sister Parker, tell us what to do.
Yes.
Are you seeing how the shifting is taking place? Evangelist Neechy, speak to that from a multi-generational standpoint. Now, I'm sure, you could help me. I don't think a lot of young people would have been, if they would, after they got hung up, they'd be like, okay, I'm going, I'm doing something else. But some of them seasoned people was saying, no, we ain't letting this go. Talk to us about what you are hearing about her journey and how that is relevant even today.
Well, first of all, I appreciate your consistency. I appreciate that. I appreciate your stick-to-itiveness. I appreciate that you were committed, even though maybe what others had around you, you didn't have.
Right.
And obviously, God has blessed you to be a part of some really amazing things. So I appreciate that.
Thank you.
I appreciate that, and I honor you for that.
Thank you.
You know, Evangelist Riley, I've sat in many conversations even this week where we talked about different things that we were doing. And the one thing that I always hear, I feel like, and y'all don't, I know how I like to tussle, so don't fight me about this. But, you know, I always hear that we have to focus on just one demographic. And I think that is like not good, because none of our churches, like what you said in the beginning, there are different things for different people. Where I'm from may not be what is good for your city or your area or your demographic or everybody's demographic is completely different. Some of our churches are seated in a very big city. Some are in a small city. Some are in a neighborhood, and our focus is on the neighborhood. So I cringe when I hear the statement that we need to have more things just for this one demographic, because your church is not made up of that. For me, on my normal life, I'm a businesswoman. I need expertise from somebody older than me, somebody my age, and from somebody younger than me. And if I only said that I only wanted information from one demographic, my businesses would fail. It would fail. I created I talk from maybe sometimes some pieces that are not necessarily how we do in church, because in some ways church is a business in some ways. And so since I run a business, I look at things like that. How was I able to build my clothing brand to over 20,000 followers on Instagram and dress so many people? Because I had to get expertise. I would go and still, even though I know how to create garments, I still wanted to learn. I remember going to a tailor shop, Evangelist, and the lady said, well, why are you here? I said, can I come and work in your tailor shop? She's like, but you already make garments and stuff. I said, yeah. I said, but you know something I don't know. I said, you know how to tailor a custom gown. You know how to tailor a bridal gown. I want to know how to do that. Was she a person that was on camera, that was big and popular? No, but she had knowledge that I wanted to know to make myself better. And so in our church environments, I think we can benefit from learning from everybody. Everybody in this room can teach me something. You could either teach me how to be more modest, how to be better when I'm around certain groups of people. You can teach me how to be better with my electronics. You can teach me how to put a message together better, anything. So I think we get unique. I'm listening to you, and I'm like, wait a minute. So you was persistent? I'm like, let me put that on the list. Be more consistent and persistent. So we can learn something from everybody. And I think that we can really, if we adapt that, I think that we'll grow amazingly. Did I answer to the question, or did I go off? Did I stay?
No, you have.
I stayed? Okay.
She stayed.
All right, so that's my thought.
I would like to say I have two witnesses right over there. Evangelist Regina Bacham and her husband. They are on the Bacham Mortuary in St. Louis. They have about 3 of them, I believe. They're big time. But
yeah, they big time.
Regina was
I let him pick me up at the airport.
Come on now.
They talking about they would try to stop me. I said, I'm going with the Undertaker over there. He picked me up.
Come on now. Because when he rolled, he rolled. But when I started off, and people started asking me to come to different churches, well, for a while, Sister Regina was my my little manager or my marketing person. She was getting me engagements, and everything. But that was the part where the setup was, because I was just going to people's churches and women's conferences and just having a ball, tearing up stuff, and having but he was setting me up.
Yes.
See, because he made me think I was going to do this all over the world. And then he put me on the telephone, and I did have 3 groups. One group were the teenagers. I had some teenagers.
Okay.
I made them get on the phone. I had them in Sunday school, had them in Sunday school and everything. So that was just this is wonderful, God, I can go to work, and I can do this on the side. But see, when you start off doing something, you don't really know what you're doing. What we run into the problem is when we try to put a stamp on it and say, I'm this, and that, and the other. But the Lord told me one day I was going to work complaining about they didn't pay me enough money. He said, this ain't about you. He said, it's all about me.
Wow.
I never opened up my mouth again and complained about that job. Never.
You said something, though, and I want everybody to hear and understand what happens with this virtual space. You said you were expecting to be going all over the world preaching, right? In the physical.
Yeah, just no, I was expecting to go, be invited to this church.
Yeah, you're all over the world, physically.
Yes,
Y'all
ma'am.
get me? Physically.
Yeah,
That was her expectation.
Yes.
She knew that she had a word that was going to go all over the world. But the expectation was that physically she was going to get on a plane and go all over the world. But now you are all over the world.
Yeah. Now,
from the comfort of your home.
Well, you're bringing up a good point.
Come on now.
See,
and I need churches and ministries that are here to get that. You are worldwide. When we are in this virtual space now, we are supposed to be taking the gospel everywhere, worldwide. The virtual space has now shown us how to do that. I'm going to ask, Sister Neechy, I asked you this when we did the live, and I'm going to do it to you like I did before. What do you say to these people who are saying, well, now this ain't nothing but just a fad. When all this COVID stuff is over, we going to go back to where we were. We got to get them people back in the church again. And come on off here, all this streaming stuff. We got to come off here. What do you say to them? Go on and say it. It's being recorded, but say it. We were supposed to stream live, but they're recording it and they're going to stream it. So go on and say it.
If you're not online right now, I don't know how much longer you'll be able to maintain. There was a lady that I was kind of trying to help out, and this was before COVID hit. And I said, you're doing, she was doing prayer and everything. I said, you really need to be doing the prayer, do the prayer by phone, of course, but also, why don't you just do audio on Facebook? Why don't you also do that, do the audio on Facebook? And then her Sunday service, I said, why are you not streaming the Sunday service? And she said, I don't want to stream any of my services because I don't feel like the people will show up and give their offering. And I said, okay, but you are looking for 50 people to show up when you could have 50,000 who are watching you online who will sow.
Right.
I just don't understand. I didn't understand why she did not understand that she's on social media every day. She's one of the 50,000 for somebody else who was commenting, sending a seed or whatever, but for her own ministry, she was nervous that the people were not going to show up. So as COVID went on, her building had to shut down and has not reopened because the things were not in place for her to have digital giving, for her to already have a following where people knew who she was or who the ministry was. On the side of it, the other side of it is, if that's our concern, where is our faith? That God will continue to maintain our ministries and on whatever platform that we're on. From my standpoint, from marketing, Evangelist Riley, anybody that's a client of mine on the marketing side, they say, Neechy, what do I have to do? I know that this is what you're doing, this is what's new. I said, from my perspective, you need to be on everything that there is. Just because you are on social media does not mean that you cannot also be on television. Just because you are on television does not mean that you cannot also be on radio. Just because you are on radio, television, and Facebook does not mean that you cannot have your doors open on Sunday. We're talking about letting the generations speak. Well, some generations want text messages and some people don't. So you got to still send them an email newsletter and make it descriptive when you send it. A newsletter and a text message and the social media. All of it must be in place. This is where we are. We can try to act like it does not exist. We can try to act like, well, I'm already reaching my people. They already fine. No, you fine. But the rest of the people need to hear what you're saying are not fine because they're missing what you have because you have not given them the tools to be able to access where you are. So you can make this thing easy, create a schedule, get some support, get some help, but it is a necessity. I am communications for my church in Detroit, Michigan, my Bishop Charles H. Ellis III, whoop, whoop,
Yes, whoop,
Greater
whoop.
Grace Temple, okay? And we send text messages, newsletters, Sunday announcements, social media, and when we send something out, the people are present. Because we are reaching every demographic. We have senior citizens, we have children, we have teens, we have middle age, we have whatever. That's why I go back to that phrase that I always hear people say that we have to focus our stuff on one demographic. That's impossible. But we have to put the tools in place to reach everybody, and it can be done. And those churches that did that had the ability, had their Cash App set up, had their PayPal set up, had a link on the website, something like that, they received more money. Have you heard pastors talk about that they received more donations and more seeds during COVID than they did prior? Because it was made easy. It was made easy. So I say do everything.
Yes.
I have to concur with her because, and how many of you who are over ministries, be it you're a pastor, you have a ministry, you've seen the increase during COVID. How many of you y'all seen it? I know I have. How many of you gotten gifts from people you have no idea who they are?
Very few. Just
I have no idea. I don't have a clue. But they hear you, and they sow into what has blessed them. And it doesn't matter who you are. They just know you had a word for them that blessed them. I want to ask you very quickly, and please just be open to the information. What would you say, Evangelist Neechy, is probably the easiest and the safest, most secure method to get set up for giving if you're not already set up for online giving?
So you can easily, sometimes I think the thought of navigating a website or whatever can maybe be a little scary for some, and that's fine. So all you can do your Cash App. That's the easy thing you can set up on your own, and Cash App will actually give you a QR code that you can have and place that on all of your imagery. That way, it's on your graphic. I think somebody told me that one of the churches out in Las Vegas has the QR code on the back of their seats, actually. But you can put that, you can take that, you can print it, put it wherever. That way people can just scan that code and they can share it. And then Cash App will give you an actual link. I think it's cashapp.me/ the name of the ministry. And you can just put that in all of your posts. That link in every post that you put out, every post that we put out, that I put out for my brand or any churches that I help, at the bottom of that post, it is never empty. It's going to say, join us in service, but it's also going to say, this is how you can give. Every single post. That way, every time someone comes to your page on social media, if that's what we're talking about social media at this point, they always can go back and see at any given time that they can give, that they can support. People want to. I was actually on the phone with my godmom last night. I sent her the link to the service. She don't know nobody here. She said, I'm going to send in a seed, Neechy. She don't know nobody here. She don't know nobody, okay? But she don't know, not a soul. But the link was made available, and she was like, I want to give. So you make the links available. I would say the ease would be Cash App and PayPal right now. That doesn't require you to do anything special, but have your email address, set it up, and then put your bank account attached to it, and that's the fastest and easiest.
And I can say that for me, both Cash App and PayPal, those are the ones that we do have Givelify, but Cash App and PayPal are very secure and they're very easy. Givelify is secure too, just a little bit more technical.
Yes.
A little bit more technical, but I will say this about Givelify. For me, in my ministry, Just For You Ministries, Givelify is where more automatic givers give for us.
That's right.
Because a lot of churches are on Givelify. So if they've connected with you, then they do it like I've got people that between the first and the third every month, there is a gift that comes through from them on Givelify. And that's just because they're accustomed to using Givelify.
Yes.
So I like what Evangelist Neechy was saying. You just use all of them. And then it's okay. You just see which one works the most best for you. That quick giving, those quick one-time gifts, absolutely Cash App. Absolutely Cash App. That absolutely Cash App. Going to your website, PayPal. That's what we found, that PayPal. But that quick giving, they see it on the screen, they say, oh, Cash App. What's your Cash App? Oh, okay. So, but don't be afraid don't be afraid.
Right.
Like she said, get them out there and utilize them. And say, oh, you're not begging, honey. You're just putting it available. You're just putting it out there.
And you know what you said about Givelify, and this is not sponsored by you or I. We're not sponsored.
No.
We're not sponsored. We ain't sponsored.
Nobody.
But it works. And the thing about Givelify that, as the end user that I like, is that I can have my tax statement. That's why a lot of people use it also.
Yes, because and I think they give us monthly reports.
They give you a report anytime.
They give you a monthly report and everything. So Givelify, because Givelify is really Cash App, PayPal. They're just geared to people to transfer money. Okay, Givelify is organized for nonprofits and churches. Okay, so that's where you get all of that other stuff coming in. All right. Now, before we go any further, because of what we have covered, are there any questions about what we've covered thus far?
Praise the Lord. My name is Sister Robin Smith, and I'm a pastor of the church. I have a question for Pastor Angela Parker.
Yes, ma'am.
I wondered what pastoring My question to Pastor Angela Walker, I wondered what pastoring a church without walls looks like. As I was musing and thinking about the pastorate at my church, and the different departments and auxiliaries, and it occurred to me to ask that question. And I also
ma'am.
have a question for you, Evangelist Neechy, but at the next time.
Okay. I have Sunday school department. I have women's department. I have men's department. And we do all of it, but virtually. Like I said, we do all of it on the phone. I set up and paid for the virtual program, but I could not get those people to get on there. I said, I'm paying for it, because I wanted them, you can get on here and do Sunday school. You can get on here, you can have your meetings, and I'm still paying for it. And you could have your meetings and everything that you want to have. So like on Sunday mornings, I have the messages we preach on Sunday mornings, and right after that, we do Just for You Sunday School. We have more people that come on our line for Sunday school than we do for service. And now a lot of those people that didn't come on for service, they're coming on for service. So my Sundays are my biggest days. We come on every day now at 10 o'clock in the morning. But we used to be 6 o'clock in the morning. For all these years, for 22 years, I was 6 o'clock in the morning, every day. Every day. I just stopped doing Saturdays because I was out there on Facebook and YouTube 4 days a week. And then I just put it down to 2 because I'm just like, my God, Angie, come on. But I wanted to bring out also that in 2010, I was typing up, I was on Facebook and making up my little pages, and I have a lot of pages. And I did Partners in Prayer International because I was getting in my mind what he was doing, because we had people in other countries calling. So he told me, he said, this is a global ministry. I almost fell out my chair. I went over like this and had to grab her. I said, global? I said, okay. And I just didn't, at that time, you didn't have any understanding because I was out the box. I was already before my time. I didn't know what the world I was doing. But I got out there and said, hey, everybody, we having Sunday school. We having healing and deliverance. Because, see, I do healing and deliverance. See, that's why I thought he was going to let me go all over the world, because them laying on their hands and the miracles, see, that's what he made me think that I was going to do. But so every department, I'm getting ready to start the youth department, and we're going to have it. It will be radio, where they podcast, whatever, because the young people need people to talk to. And I've been crying about this for 5 years. I said, okay, y'all don't want to do it, I'll do it myself. So I'm grabbing young children all over the country, anybody that will come, and I want to talk to them about their issues. So I'm getting a bunch of young people, whoever I can get through the ministry, their children, I'm grabbing them to be on here with me, and I'm just going to be in the background just talking up or speaking up. So that's another one. Woman to Woman of Empowerment is the women's ministry we have. They come on, we used to do that just on the telephone, but they come on the line, they talk about everything under the sun, their mama, their cousin, their daddy, incest, everything. They come on the line. Now, Woman to Woman, I had that out on Facebook and Instagram, not Instagram, but YouTube. But they can't talk about the deep stuff. But when I started that, when the men would be out there before the women, I said, didn't we say this was woman to woman? But I would say, okay, brothers, y'all help yourself, because we would deal with stuff. Now I'm doing Women of Empowerment just on the phone. And those ladies are coming on that line at 10 o'clock, and sometimes they don't get off till 2. They need somebody to talk. People need people to talk to. They need to understand that you're not the only person going through issues, and that's how this ministry started. Because I was going around preaching, and people were telling me, I'm leaving my church, I'm going to do this. I said, wait a minute, no, you're not. I said, come on, what time you want to get up in the morning? I said, we're going to get some word in you. And that's, Jesus. You got to let him define who you are. I said that before.
Wow.
I didn't have a clue of what I was doing, but I was moving under the anointing.
Yes.
Moving under the anointing. So everywhere I went, everybody was mad at they passed or whatever. I said, get online. Come on, get on to 5 o'clock. Get on to 6:30. Get on the time. And I did all of that before I went to work. So I didn't understand why I had to lose my job, because I was doing everything, I thought. But he wanted full time. So you don't direct what you do, but if you follow God, you can't lose.
Wow. Okay, another question. Can you step like toward the aisle here? Hold the mic, she'll hold it.
Thank you. Pastor, my question is, well, it's both, may I make a statement and then a question?
Okay.
Thank you. I started out praying for several hours a day. My ministry moved to ministering particularly to witches and warlocks. I was winning them to Christ. I would go to witches' covens on a daily basis. I then moved to going to buses and ministering on buses, and then I would walk the city so several miles a day. I want to know, and I was winning many souls at that time. I was wondering, have you seen a shift from what you're presently doing to where you feel God wants you to go within the next, let's speculate, within the next 6 months? Where do you see yourself within the next 6 months?
You talking to me?
Yes, ma'am.
Directed it to me. Well, since I don't know what God does with me, he does whatever he wants, how he wants. One thing I would like to see in the next 6 months is more young people, us communicating with young people. People that are crying out, they're suicidal, they have no one to talk to. I want to see our young people's body be able to help them and deal with the suicide, deal with the peer pressure and all of that. I want to see that, and I want to see our 24-hour prayer ministry that I have, and we pray 24 hours once a month. And we have a lot of bishops, a lot of people. Pastor, she's been on there. Oh, I just go around and say, hey, your name? What's your name, Pastor? Can you come on the line? You don't be too proud to beg. I beg. They know me. I beg. The bishops started helping me when I first got started. I don't care who you are, whatever. Can you come and help me? Can you do this? You can't have a lot of pride or anything. So one thing I'd like to see is that young people's ministry up and running more. And then I want to see more and more people globally. We're trying to connect with Canada, the Bahamas, Haiti, and some other places that I want to work with to try to get them on through WhatsApp to us, to be connected with us for 24-hour prayer. And then after that, whatever their issues need, because we have a healing and deliverance ministry. You can come on whatever your issues are. I'm not a clinical person, but I'm a Jesus person, and he is a miracle worker. After that message today, I was really encouraged. Was you encouraged?
Yes.
Ooh-wee, I'm ready to do some stuff.
I
Thank
see a lot of the young adults, and that, so this is, y'all bear with me for a minute. You all know, but I want Evangelist Neechy to really, I have an idea. I need Evangelist Neechy to explain to us clearly what is WhatsApp.
Yes, ma'am.
WhatsApp, I think originally, well, a lot of people use it if they want to be able to talk to somebody that's not here in the United States, or somebody from out of the country wants to speak to us, they can do that. A lot of people use it for if they are looking for vendors and things like that, but also I've been talking to some of our pastors that are out of the country. That's how they communicate with me, is through
It's free.
WhatsApp. It's free.
Okay,
It's
say it
free.
again.
It's
It's-
like text messaging. It's free.
But you can talk.
You can talk, they can call
y'all
me
hear
through
that?
audio, just like how you all dial through Facebook audio, which is also free. They can dial through WhatsApp audio. They can text, they can send pictures. We can send pictures. It is absolutely free. It's something that you can definitely be able to communicate with people that are not here.
So there's no need to run from it.
Run to it.
Run to it, because it's free.
Run to
Yes.
Okay? And that's the kind of thing I'm trying to make sure we get all of the information that's available. So if you're here at this convention and you meet some people from a different part of the world, and, you know, pastors and all, if they ask, what's your WhatsApp? Say, I don't have one, but give me yours when I'm going to go back home and get mine.
Yep.
And then we're going to communicate. Y'all follow where I'm going with
Come on,
this?
come on.
Okay? This is because what we want is information. I like the question that the sister asked. Where do you see yourself in 6 months? I think that's a question, I know she addressed it to Pastor Parker, but let's ask ourselves, each and every one of us, where do you see yourself in your ministry in 6 months? Where do you see yourself in your ministry in 6 months? I think we're beyond waiting on this thing to pass. Okay? Right? So where do you see yourself and your ministry in 6 months? Have you become stagnant? You just stagnated? You just in just one place? Or are you looking for new ways to expand? how to go to your next.
Yeah.
Evangelist Neechy, what's next?
You know, there's a lot that's next, but let me help you to get to next.
Yes.
Next can sometimes look very scary. It appears to be very scary to make the next move. It appears to be very scary to step to the next thing. What has been beneficial for me is to take the time to write down what it is that I really do want to see. We always talk about write the vision. I found I need to write those things down, what it is that I really want to see. And then look and see, okay, what on this list can I actually do today? Versus me trying to look at that list and be like, okay, I want lights, camera, action, people, this, that, new clothes, everything. All of that, you know, it can be overwhelming to try to create or implement all of that in one day or in one setting. So I take the simple thing that I can do today. Putting that little, in my notes section, I put a little check mark next to what I completed. Man, you would think I had climbed Mount Morris when I complete that one thing. I'm like, yes, I did something off of my list. So write the list down, go one by one. Going to the next is not difficult if we put it in perspective. And then the next thing that I do when I'm looking to go to next of whatever, I look to see who do I know that I can ask a question to? Who do I know? And we go back to having multiple generations, different people that we can gain information from. Like, who do I know? And I'll pick up the phone. You know, this is what I'm thinking about doing. Because really, it could just be one thing that I need to hear them say that triggers exactly how I'm going to do what I'm going to do. You just said we need to talk. The conversation helps me to get to my next. So I'm going to call who I know that knows how to do that so that I can go to next. You said we are past the point of waiting. If we don't have our stuff, somebody else going to sweep right in and do it.
Hello.
We are definitely past the point of waiting. And we do not have to mirror or mimic what anyone else is doing. You talked about, you know, how I'm paraphrasing, but how God's guiding you through your journey, but you're just moving underneath the unction of the Holy Spirit. Right. He's making the steps for you. Yeah. If we're moving along, if we're in prayer, I put my stuff up. I be talking to God like, Lord, I'm putting this on the altar, that on the altar. You know I can't figure this out. Are you going to help me with, you know, like a real conversation about what I can't figure out because I can't. So I'll talk to him about all of those things, and I'll be like, just, Lord Jesus, if you want this to happen, you're going to have to guide me because I don't know what I'm doing. When I did the clothing line, I did it out of necessity of not being able to find a proper length skirt for church. I went to every single store, and there was nothing proper in proper length. And so I had seen my mother sew, but I hadn't really grabbed hold of it. And when I started creating garments and posted a couple online, people started saying they wanted them. I said, Lord, okay, if you want me to do this, you're going to have to show me. And he walked me through it, and I started creating and designing for many. So having the conversation with God about what you want your next to be, I think sometimes, Evangelist Riley, we feel some kind of way about asking God for the next or the growth or the increase. Now, we'll talk to him about a bill. We'll talk to him about a light bill. We'll talk to him about our loved one in the hospital. But we will not talk to him. For some reason, we feel like we're not worthy to ask him, Lord, I want to increase my scope of ministry. Lord, I want to increase my business. I got to calm myself down. I want to increase my scope of business. So we won't talk to him about that. But I have seen God answer my little prayer, what I thought was a little prayer or insignificant to him. I've seen him answer. I've seen him answer my great prayers, what I thought was my great big prayers. I've seen him answer what I might think were my medium, Lord, I'll be happy if you do it, but it's not a necessity. And he'll be like, I'm going to do it for you because I want to, because I love you, I'm going to do it. But I had to take it to him in prayer. And so all of our next, I believe we can take it to God in prayer. He's going to walk us on through it.
Can you come in the aisle a little bit, sis? So we can all hear you. She's going to bring you you come on in the aisle a little bit now. Come on.
I just wanted to say, as far as ministry, because there's a wide range of ministries, right?
Yes,
You got the prison ministry, you have the street ministry, you have the senior citizen ministry. So what would be the next step? And I guess it would be for Ms. Riley. What would be the next step for people that interested in that type of ministry? I know you talked on the business aspect, correct, on the next steps, but then as far as ministry, you know, seeking people, you know, if they looking to do a ministry of prison, you know, where you would have to go in to talk to prisoners, or, you know, the street where people are on the street. And I know that is probably where people need to know what would be the next steps on that
Pastor Riley.
aspect.
Speaking of that, I have a young lady here that is something like that. Could I just say
Sure.
something about her? Sister Evangelist Kimberly Oliver,
Oh.
over here, you know, love her. Well, I remember she was working, she's an architect or whatever she is, and she was in between jobs. I was praying, like you said, and I got to praying about her. And then God started giving me all this about her. I was in the grocery store, called her in the grocery store. I will never forget this. And I said, Sister Kimberly, I said, you sitting around here waiting up and people hitting you and stuff like that. I said, you need to start working in your ministry. I said, you need to do it now. I said, because God, you are full of ministry. I said, don't care about what anybody else say, but you do it if you need to talk to me some more. She said, okay. Next thing I know, this sister's out here doing saved and single. She got that big ministry out there on Facebook. And next thing you know, she's got Kimberly Notes or whatever it is. Yeah. Kimberly, what is it called? Kimformations, her book. She's what you call it, a graphic person. You can order things for her. She do T-shirts. She does all of these things. Let's not get away from ministry is wonderful, but sometimes we got to encourage other people. Like you really encouraged me when you called me on the phone. I was like, duh. She didn't call my bishop and asked him about me. I was watching you on Facebook. What's wrong with us encouraging other people, you all? Yeah. Because sometimes they're just
That's
like
what this is about.
The lady said, you want to know how you do yours. She wasn't saved and single. She's just sitting up doing nothing but her graphic work and whatever. Called on the phone and said, baby, you got more in you. You need to let it out. You need to let it out. So go with what you know. I love to pray. That's how, you know, if you stood by me and said you had a headache, I went down in my purse and slapped some all upside yourself. In the name of Jesus. And people was getting healed. I didn't even know. Bishop Johnson had to say, do you have a gift of healing or laying on the hands? I said, huh? Because, you know, praying for everybody. Right. So whatever your issues that you have, start working on it. Walk in it. Go ahead, Sister.
You were saying that so like you're saying, prison ministry, for an example. Mm-hmm. What's the next step? Do you have a prison ministry? Okay, but one of the things, first of all, what I'd say about anybody you say, well, I'm trying to launch out into an area of ministry. I know I feel led to get information about what you, okay? Don't just say, I'm going to start a ministry, and then I try to help you and ask you some questions, and you can't tell me nothing about it, okay? Know about some prison, so then you need to start looking up prison ministries, see various prison ministries that are across the country. There's one, all you need is a computer, a pad, a tablet, or a phone, a smartphone, and go in prison ministries, okay? And start looking at them and seeing what mirrors what you want to do. I'm not saying that you got to be the, identical of it, but at least you don't have to reinvent a wheel. What mirrors what you want to do? Go through there and see, okay, they got applications for this, so they don't just come and say, I want to join your ministry. No. They apply. They can apply online. What kind of questions do they ask in their application? So then well, I don't want to ask that question, but I do want to ask this question. Are you following me? And then you set up your own standard operating procedures. Yes. SOP. Put together some standard operating procedures. How do we want to do? The days of saying, you don't need to do all that hard, you just need to get up there and do it, open your mouth, let the Lord feel it, just do whatever the Lord say. No, we don't. Okay? We know better now, and that worked when it worked. But we know better now. We know that we understand about the decency and an order that the God we serve, is requiring of us. Yes. We understand about structure, okay? You got to have some structure. I'm going to say it like this, and Evangelist Neechy, I'm telling the truth, and that's why all of this is new. How many of you are excited about how timely things been this here convention? And the night service has been all right, haven't they? And we ain't cut no corners, but we still been like,
we getting up?
It's not 12 o'clock.
Hallelujah.
It's not 10:30. So God can really do all of that if you start promptly at 7.
Mighty God.
He's a mighty God. Come on.
Start on time.
We know better. We can do better. And you know what? I'm hearing it already from people who are talking to their relatives, because you know we're still in this. So there are a lot of people that you don't see that are because of, you know, they don't want to be around a lot of people, but they're so thankful that we are hybrid. And they're saying, woo, and honey, y'all getting out of there. Y'all having church. I'm having church in my home, and it's not taking all night. This thing is good. They're talking about it. They're enjoying it. Now, just in case you don't do some of the little stuff that I do, you said, well, I think, yeah, I know we stream, but Sister Neechy, Evangelist Neechy, what's the streaming number for Tuesday night?
It was, now just that night, it was like at 40,000.
Hello.
Now I
Say
don't
it
know
again.
where it is now.
Hello. Say it
See
again.
that?
That was
Say
just
it again.
that night. And
Say
you
it
know,
again.
numbers go up.
And that was just Facebook. Was that just
That was
Facebook?
just Facebook.
That was just Facebook. Did
Yeah,
y'all hear?
come
Did y'all hear what I said?
Come
What
on
I
now.
said. What I said. What I said.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't even know if the other center do they
Right,
see
it was-
40,000.
and it was-
Y'all live. Is there a place here? Can you get 40,000 in the baseball or the football arena? How many? You can? About 40? Okay. Hello. So
Yeah.
we
I hear you talking.
you,
I hear
we,
what
we,
you're saying.
what we about 3? Were we at about 225, 3 in person?
Yeah.
Somewhere between 2,500 and 3,000.
Yeah, I say about 2,500.
About 2,500 in
Yeah.
person. Hear what I'm saying. 2,500 in person. 40,000 online.
Come on now.
I think that's called reaching the world.
Yes, yes.
And we were pity-patting with it. Now, let's be honest. Let's give credit to where you do. We're playing around with the hybrid before in 2019.
I'm trying to see the
But we wasn't hitting it like we're hitting it now.
Come on.
Come on, we learned how to really do it in 2020 and 21. So by the time we came here in 2022, we really, when you say you come to this convention, you are at a convention that is reaching people all over the world in huge numbers.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, and you gotta just work. We have to work it. You've got to, there is something to some organization and structure.
Yes.
If I don't get any other point across to you during this session, this is one thing that I ask God, help us to understand. You all don't be waiting on stuff to go back. We're going forward.
Moving forward.
Stop waiting on us. I can't wait till we go back. We're not going back. We're going forward.
Yes.
All right?
Evangelist
Now,
Riley, I'm looking at the impressions and the people reached on Tuesday night. What y'all think the number is? 78,000 impressions,
Did
78,000
y'all hear
people
that?
reached.
Did you hear that?
78,000.
All right, lady in the pink. I like that. We need you to get up and step in the aisle. Come on here. We want to hear you.
Yes.
Okay. In ministry, there are times when God will put a burning in your heart in ministry. And what do you do when you went to your pastor or went to the leader and you get no response? You get a yeah, okay, but you don't get, okay, well, I need you to do this. And then even though they say we're going to be doing this, but still months go by and a year go by, and it's still like stuck, just sitting there. So what would you suggest? I mean, a lot of people don't want to come against their leaders or appear to think they smarter than their leader, but it's just the burning inside of your heart. What would one do?
I would say, first, take what's in your heart and write the vision and make it plain. Okay? Because whether they are ready to talk or execute it or not. And sometimes people and leaders, they're human. The problem with execution is sometimes they don't really understand how it's executed. So write the vision. We can't just say, I just want to do this. No, put together. I've got a plan. Here it is, 1 to 10. And Pastor, this is how, and I'm ready to work with this when you are ready. And you got any questions about it, just let me know, and I'll sit down and answer them. But sometimes sometimes you can present a big burning, because it's a burning and a desire that God has given it you to a leader who just doesn't know how to wrap their hands around it. But if we write it, make it plain, it will assist them in that process of understanding. Sometimes they're not saying no, or they're not doing it because they got a problem with you or it. They just don't know what to do with it or totally understand it. And as a leader, sometimes that's difficult to say to a parishioner, And once you just keep on, they ain't come back to you, but keep on writing it. Because I'll tell you one thing I know for a fact. If God is in it, there's going to be an open door, whether it's there or down the street. Come on, somebody. Yeah. And I'm not even talking about you leaving your church. But sometimes people will even come to you and say, listen, can we employ you to help us to do this? Because we heard that you've been doing and working on something like this. Anybody know what I'm talking about? I hope that. I hope that helps.
You gave me because sometimes the person may get discouraged and.
Oh, absolutely.
But what you just said, you just broke it down where it came down good for everyone.
Yeah.
For everyone, even my leader or even me, you say just keep writing the vision down.
Just keep writing, don't stop.
Right, instead of getting upset, because I did get upset.
No, just keep putting it together.
So,
Because God, when it's God, He's going to open a door for it to happen. But just put it together and pray over and just say, God, when it's your time, open up the door. Open up the door. Does that, you all get that?
Amen.
Okay. Yes, dear. Be careful, sweetie.
It's very true. I was a member of Bishop Norman Leonard Wagner's church for many years. And I would write him every year, each and every day. And eventually he started putting me to work. And so because I wrote down the vision, just everything that I felt needed to go in, everything God told me to write, I didn't add, didn't take away. It was point on. He would look at, he would say, all right, Tracy, we're going to do this, 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 and this. And then we're going to do it just the way you've written it out on each and every letter. Sis, write it down.
Write it down. There you go. Right. Yep. Just write it down. Write it down. Yes.
Guess what? Her name is Tracy. And she just said Tracy.
Tracy. All right. Come on now. Come on in here. Come on in here.
All right.
I want to ask, and I think you all want to hear this too. I want to ask Pastor Parker. Pastor Parker, what has been your biggest challenge in having a church without walls? Just in case some of y'all saying I'm getting ready to get me a church without walls.
Well, without saying, sometimes the people can be challenging.
Okay, say it again.
Sometimes the people can be challenging.
Whether they intend to be or
Right.
not.
Sometimes they don't have any intention. You work with them, you do everything you can, you invest in them, you see them grow, and they come to a wonderful place, and then the next thing you know, you don't see them anymore. It's not that they come to a wonderful place where they could be on their own, but then they get to a certain place, and sometimes we think we don't need leadership anymore, and then they gone, and then. But see, I always have an open door. They know they can come back anytime they want to, and some of them have come back 3 and 4 and 5 times. Yes, they have. And what I always look at people is these are God's people.
That's right. They're not
I
your
said they don't
people.
belong
That's
to
right.
me. I'm
That's
just
right.
doing an assignment. So sometimes that could be challenging. When I first started, one thing that really used to bother me, but I got used to it, is that people would come on act like they with you, and they would just stay long enough to see what you're doing, and then they would go out and try to do what you do. And they didn't last long, but they would go out there and try to do it, because I
happens
was
all the
trying.
time.
I'm trying to get everybody to understand that will listen to me is that you have your own individual work, and then you have your work that you do corporate work.
That's good.
But just because I can do something and you like it, don't mean you can do it. It's got to be the call that God has in you. So that's been a challenge.
Does that make
for me.
sense? And that, yeah, come on. That makes
Yeah,
sense.
that's been
that
one.
makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, that's been one. The part about the ministry part of it, that part isn't a challenge except for when I was just doing it every day.
Okay.
I started out, I just stopped doing it every
remember
day
you
2
telling me.
years ago.
Right.
But this was every day. You know, everybody get a rest. I had 2 days a month that I took off, 2 days a month, and that's just too much. So you got to set your parameters, your priorities.
Right.
Don't overwork yourself to death.
right.
Don't do that. Even
Right.
Jesus rested. Come on, you know.
Mhm.
So,
Yes, he did.
Yeah, that was a hard one for me for a while.
And you have shared with me, and I want to say this before I go. I'm really going to hit you hard, so you get ready.
Oh,
You get
wow.
drink some water, because I'm getting ready to really hit you hard, Evangelist Neechy. But before we go to Evangelist Neechy, you have shared with me that initially, and you all remember when she talked about how she quit her job and wasn't really what she wanted to do, and just a handful of people and all that. And there were things that you lost.
Oh yes.
But
Yes.
but now,
But now,
hello somebody.
hello.
I just want to say, I'm going to say it for her, and she can come behind me. But now, everything she lost, he gave it back.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
she's still doing what she was doing when she lost everything. Do y'all hear that?
Yes, everything.
Yeah.
You know, because you think you know what you're doing when you don't. I thought, okay, the job, it was 2 of us and then attrition. So I'm going to jump up and say, okay, Paul, you can stay, I'll leave. Am I crazy? I was crazy. Sometimes you can be crazy with purpose and don't understand it. I was walking out the door, had my stuff packed, and I was in another world because I couldn't believe that I was walking out from this wonderful job. I love my job. And I'm like, I'm walking out the door. I'm getting in my car. I'm putting my things in my car. I'm losing my salary. And that little money, that little proposal they gave me was nothing. Uncle Sam got most of the money. Most of the money that was supposed to be my money. I didn't get anything. And then he turned around and wanted some more, and I wouldn't give it to him. So he took it, started taking it out of my checks. Then for a while, I didn't have a bank account. Because he was taking every penny that I had.
Yeah.
I suffered really bad. 7 years, I thought I was in Lodabar on the Isle of Patmos. Come on.
On both of them, loaded by on the Isle of Patmos.
Yeah,
All right, y'all,
baby.
come on here.
I was suffering so, and I said, I didn't ask for none of this. But it's this process you got to go to. If you're really going to do ministry and be successful, he's going to have to take you and make you over. He's going to have to pull the skin off of your body. And see, people want your story. But you got to have your own story.
It's a price.
You have
it's a
to
price.
be
Come on,
made.
somebody. It's a
Going over
price.
Going over there to St. John, the 17th chapter, where he talks about the vineyard. See, because you have to be cut from here to there, from A to appetite, and then after he cuts you in your eyes over here and your legs over there and whatever, he puts you back together again, because we don't know what we need. But God knows, so he wants us to be successful. So he has to get a whole lot of us out of us. He has to take our personalities, change our personalities, and that's a suffering way. So I lost my house. I had just moved. What in the world was I doing leaving the job, and I hadn't been in my house for 4 years? New car. I had to be crazy with purpose that I could not see because I lost all of that. And the car was only 3 months before it was going to be paid for when I saw it driving off to the sunset. And that was after I had to move in with my goddaughter. And I didn't have nothing but a little room with all my stuff stacked up, and I had a 7-room house. And all my stuff was stacked up on the sides, and here they come and take my car too, and then when I bought my new car, that was bad enough. But I got a new car on down. I went and worked at this job 2 weeks and had nerve enough to go out and get a car. Hadn't even had a salary yet, but that was fate. So I bought the car, but I didn't have the sales tax. I didn't have any of that. So I drove the car for 2 months, 60 days. You get the little pass, and then you go and get it another. And then I had to park it into a sister's garage for a whole year. I had to pay that note, and I had to pay that insurance, but I wasn't driving. You talking about pain. And when I went over to that sister's house to have my car, I would see that new car sitting in her garage that I could not drive. I didn't have change for a quarter and was working 4 little jobs. He wasn't telling me to work no job. He was telling me full-time ministry, but I couldn't see it, so I had to go to them little jobs. I was a substitute teacher. I was special school district, Ferguson, Hazelwood, you name it. I was going with them little bad kids up in there in the special, ooh. But I love them kids. And so the Holy Ghost was working with those kids because they was bad.
But let's move forward. So
Yes.
now you have a house.
Now I have my house back.
The house back. That's what I
That
want her to tell y'all.
Thank you.
The house she lost, that's where she's living
Move
now.
back in. Didn't have to get a man any money. He said, open the door.
The
and it's
house
yours.
she lost
Yes, ma'am.
is the house she's in right now.
Yes, ma'am.
I just want to tell somebody
Yes.
that God will bring about restoration, all right?
Yes.
Now I want to do this because I want you all to hear, and if you can ask some questions if we have a little
Yeah.
time afterwards, but I want to hit Evangelist Neechy with this. Come on, are you ready? Kind of like a lightning round here,
Uh-oh.
okay? Because this is multi-generation. Free conference call. Which generation?
Older generation, middle age.
Middle age.
Yes.
Okay. Free conference call. Do y'all hear? How many of you have a free conferencecall.com on number? Okay. How many of you don't have a free, you in the ministry, but you don't have a free conferencecall.com number? I would really advise you to get one, seriously. And let me tell you this. Even if most of us use it, those of you who have it, do you use it like for prayer calls? Same here. But you could also use it for meetings. Yep, you could use it for meetings. They actually have a visual portion. I haven't used that
Yes.
yet, but they even have a visual portion. But this way, you could just have your meetings, get on the phone, everybody call. Some of because sometimes when you get in certain age groups, some of the other pieces can be a little technologically challenging, but nothing is challenging to pushing the numbers.
Yes.
Okay? Sometimes only time I've been on, and I have been on, a prayer line where there were more seasoned people, and it got challenging for them. It was the star 6 of them muting their line. Where really the person should have been muting them, the person in charge should have muted everybody's line. And we were going through this, no, push this number, Said, brother so-and-so, just push this number. And and you could hear it say, poo, poo. And then you hear, do y'all hear me?
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, so that got challenging. So here she's saying, so if you don't have, and it's free, that's what it, freeconferencecall.com. And even and that's with an access code. Even the one number is only $3.95 a month. I've got that one.
Yeah.
There's just one number, and all it costs me is $3.95 a month. Okay? So if you've got a part of your ministry, congregation, more middle-aged people, I think you need to consider getting that, because you can have your meetings on there. You can have prayer calls on there too, but you can also have your meetings on there. It's free, and that's it. freeconferencecall.com. Face the book.
I think everybody should have that, because at some point, your entire demographic, you're going to give that link out for them to view your services. Everybody in our churches are being given that link to view our services. So you may not actually, your church should have the page. As far as the demographic that has it, those who are in high school right now do not have Facebook like that. They don't.
They're TikTok?
They're TikToking.
Okay.
I don't know. Is Snapchat still a thing, y'all?
Snapchat?
Yeah. Y'all saying it's not? Snapchat's not a thing? Okay. But TikTok.
TikTok?
Yeah. Okay. So they are not on the book of the face like that.
I've been on the lines where they told me they didn't know how to do face the book.
Yeah.
So that's why I did. That's why I said that. Yeah.
Wow.
So,
But teenagers do not have that.
okay. So still we're getting back into a little older,
Yeah.
little older group. And listen, And even if you don't have to be an older person, don't get mad if your mama has a Facebook page and you have
Oh,
one
no,
too.
my
Don't
mom is
get
not
mad.
getting a Facebook.
My mother does.
She want one. I said
All of my
no.
family has Facebook. They know
Oh,
everything, all my business, because they on Facebook. All right, they know my business, everybody else's business from Facebook. I've just embraced it. I've just embraced it. Okay, and so embrace it, because also they will be watching. You know, if the service isn't on, they watch it. They've gotten that Facebook piece, so
That
it's
part.
easy for
Yeah.
them. It's easy for them. Now listen, when I said they've gotten the Facebook piece, that's easy for them. YouTube.
I think everybody's on YouTube. Now, they may not have an actual account, but everyone is going there to search for something.
Okay.
Yeah.
The blessing that I feel about YouTube is this. Most of us have smart televisions. Everybody got smart TVs? Smart TVs have the YouTube app.
Yep.
If you are streaming on YouTube, your members can watch you on their television. They don't have to watch you from a screen like this. They can just, the YouTube app,
Right.
say the name, you know, of whatever your ministry is, and YouTube will take them right there, and they're sitting in the house just like they're watching television, watching you there. I would advise everybody should try to have a YouTube. Y'all got YouTube?
Yes.
You got YouTube? We gonna get you on YouTube.
Yeah.
You on YouTube. Yeah. You need a YouTube. You have a question? Yes, dear.
They have the little children and the older, but they don't have much of my age group. So I guess I asked your opinion. I told her I listen to podcasts. I don't really listen to Pandora music. I listen to podcasts. Most of the people my age listen to podcasts. And I told her I use Instagram more than anything. I don't really do Snapchat. I do Instagram and Facebook, YouTube a little bit. I don't really do YouTube. But and then she was like, the announcements. I said, did you text it to me? Because they'll say it in the church, but we're doing other stuff. If you ain't texting to me, I probably ain't gonna get it. But what other things do you think they should incorporate it for my age group?
I think it goes back to what we were talking about at the beginning about having every facet set up, because there's never going to be something just for one demographic. We have the Christian Outlook, as you know. We have this right here, the conspectus that we put together. And there are a ton of people who want that digitally, but there are a million people who want it printed.
More people want it printed than digital.
Yes, I was surprised. So,
Okay.
so if we were saying, well, we just need to do everything digital because everybody wants digital, and the demographics that we're looking at, everybody wants digital. Well, if we would have stripped it and not done printed, we would have lost a whole bunch of people. So I'm saying my answer to that would be that with whatever respective ministry, I feel that they should have every piece. I feel like you should have a printed. You know, maybe it's not your main thing anymore. Maybe some people just, you know, they stop doing bulletins, but maybe for those who are senior citizens, they just make some photocopies, have them at the front desk for them to pick up. But if we don't feed that senior citizen, if we just say, okay, you can look at it online, and that's not how they flow, then we're gonna miss them.
Yeah.
So text messaging, your main core, which is your text messages, Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. Websites are great as a point of reference, but we are not going. We are investing the money to make sure it looks good the one time, but we are going to Facebook and YouTube to search for y'all shaking your head, yes, I see you. That's what we're going to search for. That's where y'all went to search for that's watching it right now. You went to YouTube and the Facebook, and that's where you went. That is where we're looking, Instagram, you know, and like you said, the text messaging. You can do text messaging very inexpensively. I think sometimes we have these conversations, it can sound overwhelming because it sounds like we're saying invest all this crazy money, but Evangelist Riley gave you freeconferencecall.com. Free conference call, you need to sponsor us. Sponsor Evangelist Riley. Freeconferencecall.com. Facebook is free. YouTube is free. Your text messaging is going to cost you just a little bit. You might be able to do it for about $40 or $50 a month. Your Instagram is free. Your e-blast scenario, again, about $35 a month. So you really could be on your way for under $100. So my answer is that they should be everywhere. Everywhere.
Then this is my question, then my final question to you. Should ministries have streaming on their website platforms?
Yes.
How important is it that you, on your website platform, that you, in addition to Facebook and YouTube, that you're streaming your service from your website, and why?
Because the website, I would say, is the foundation, because any additional information outside of what we're looking at on social, we're going to go to the website to find out about your service times, your phone numbers, maybe events that you have coming up or things like that. So for this conference right here, there are several people who did not know maybe our Facebook actual link or our actual YouTube link. So they went to pawinc.org and they were able to see the video there. And they are watching it on Facebook and YouTube, but at the end of the day, when it all comes down to it, if they can't find it anywhere else, they're going to say, okay, well, maybe it's on the website. The pastor's information, the first lady's information, what they believe in, what they stand for. So they're going to go there, and you want them to be able to see also your services streaming and available. If you're nervous about streaming, maybe you're nervous about what kind of platform you should use, you're not ready to invest the money, which is very small, you can actually take your YouTube video playlist and embed that on your website. Again, that's zero cost. And just place that there until you're ready to have something.
Tell them again, they take the note.
It costs $0. So you can go to YouTube.
So what do they do?
You're going to go to YouTube and create a playlist for your Sunday services. If that's what you're wanting to stream, is your Sunday services. Create the playlist for your Sunday services. Click on share, and it will give you an embed code. You will copy that embed code and drop it into your website. And if you're not sure what dropped into your website means, your web person knows what that means. They should not be charging you an arm and a leg to do that part. It is as simple as doing a copy and paste to a Word document.
If you have a teenager, they can do it for you.
Yes, do not let
Anywhere
them charge
in your
you
life.
a whole bunch. Do not let them charge you anything crazy to even do
Yes.
that. It should be really free, honestly. Sorry, web designers.
Oh, nice.
Oh, do you get that? Okay, sis.
I wrote that down.
Pastor Parker,
Yes, ma'am.
how do we get your website, YouTube, or that you're on?
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
No, we can hear.
Oh, you can hear? Okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, we're okay.
Your information about
Okay. I have a website, www.partnersinprayer.
Partners in Prayer.
Partnersinprayer.com.
.com or org.
.com.
Partners
And I hope I'm saying
in
that.
Prayer
Did I say that right?
.com.
Yeah, Partners in Prayer. I'm trying to see if that's, no. PIP Ministries, I'm sorry.
PIP
Ministries.
Ministries dot
GM. But wait. PIP. Oh, Lord, help me. Right now, I got to look at.
Wait, what's the web? You said it's what?
Oh, first of all, I said Partners in Prayer.
Okay.
Okay.
Partnersinprayer.com.
We got the
Partners in
marketing
Prayer
guru
GM.
up here. She gonna
Partnersinprayergm.com.
Global Ministries. Is that what that
Because
said?
that GM stands for Global Ministry.
Okay.
I have so many things, you all. I'm sorry, but the website.
We got a
is
good, we
just
got the
one.
guru
yeah,
in
that
here.
is-
We
yes.
all right.
That's it.
Partnersinprayergm.com. Yes.
Thank you. That's the website.
Okay, you
And
got
then-
it? Partnersinprayer.com.
GM.
Oh, no,
GM.
Partnersinprayergm.com.
Yeah, because that's the,
Partnersinprayergm.com.
and then the main. I have Partners in Prayer Global Ministries on Facebook, Partners in Prayer International Ministries, and then Evangelist Angela Parker. I put on Evangelist Angela Parker, Partners in Prayer International, and YouTube. I put all the videos go on those 3 sites that I stream them from StreamYard. Now, I didn't know about the part that you said that I could put that on the website.
And you can actually put your StreamYard into, you can stream it to the website.
Okay.
Oh,
That's
she,
what I got
how
to
many
do.
of you all
I
use
was writing that
StreamYard?
down.
Anybody use StreamYard?
I do.
Did you hear what she just said? You can, this is new to me. You can put your StreamYard into your website. And how do you do that?
Now that I would have to be on the computer to walk you through, but it would just be as simple, again, as taking the code and copying it over. And if you're already paying for the service, then you might as well use what you're streaming to.
Right. Okay, that's good stuff, isn't it?
Yes.
I want Evangelist Neechy to tell us, how do we reach you on your many platforms?
My web address is neechy.com, Neechy.com. on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Neechy. I do respond. I love to chat in the inbox. Love to meet people. So if you send me a message, I will respond. So N like Nancy, EECHY on everything. Neechy.com. Also on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and TikTok.
Same thing, same name?
Yep, Neechy.
Okay.
Is there a Neechy Made It somewhere? What is that?
Neechy made it.
Is
Yeah,
that a- is
yeah,
that a
yeah, yeah,
website?
Yeah, on Instagram, NeechyMadeIt.com.
Okay.
That's where you can see all the clothes I was talking about.
Yeah.
On Instagram, Neechy Made It, Neechy made it.
Any other questions? Because I got something I want to share with you. Any other questions? My prayer is that we have helped you in getting information on how you move forward, okay? And that we've attempted to individualize it enough that you understand that it's just, you know, how one pastor or one ministry leader will do may be different from how you will do it, but we've given you a broad enough scope of the information so you will know how to make it relevant to you. You know, when it comes to business, I'm going to ask him now. If you don't want to take the mic, you can just stand up and just give me some information. Yep, I'm looking at you. You saying who? Me? Just that. Would you stand up, my dear friend and brother, Balcom? As people here in St. Louis area, they know of Brother Balcom because of the funeral homes that he has. But if you don't, he major in business here, and he and his wife are mighty. They're a mighty couple in the kingdom. Do y'all get what I'm saying? Mighty couple in the kingdom of God, and I thank God for my friendship with them. When COVID hit, did you primarily go to virtual services for homegoing and funeral services? That's when, oh, you weren't there before it started, before then. Okay, for your industry. Now that we are trying to balance this thing out, has it been eliminated, or are hybrid services, even when it comes to funerals, major? They want to stream so that folks in Alabama can see Auntie when they can't get here to St. Louis. Thank you. Well, and that's right. That's the other piece. They get to go back. And that's what people many times want to do with your services. They want to go back. They keep going back. Let it stay there. And you know what? And Evangelist Neechy, help us out. Don't get caught up in your initial numbers. Now, we
That's
talk big
just what I
numbers
was getting
about.
ready to say.
We got caught up in our big numbers
Yes.
here. This is an international convention. We got
Right.
caught up in the big numbers. But don't get caught up in the big numbers, because just let it stay there. Because people going to keep watching. Talk to us about the numbers, the viewership, and all of that.
So when you log on, you don't have to say, I'm going to wait for a few more people to come on.
Right.
You don't have to say that. It irritates the viewer.
Yes.
It irritates the viewer.
Let's get busy.
It irritates the viewer because they are 99% of your viewers are watching in a replay. So that means that they are coming onto your broadcast for 5 minutes waiting for you to start speaking, and you're
Right.
saying, I'm waiting for a few more people to come on. I'm waiting for a few more people to come, because it is easy to look at the views that you see at that moment, but they really do not matter at that moment. The majority of your viewers are replay viewers.
Yes.
They are replay. So go ahead, start talking, be engaging, go on, get through your programming, be timely, and then watch the numbers go up. You just asked about what our numbers were when we were streaming on any various night this week, and we might say, okay, you know what, well, when the broadcast was over, we had 24,000. But by the time we wake up in the morning, it has close to doubled. But what if we started the broadcast here at the convention and waited until we had 1,000 people watching?
Can't do it.
Please, saints of God, I'm begging you, please cut the I'm
Yes.
waiting for a few more people to come on.
Yeah.
Right.
Because they coming on in the replay. I'm begging you. I'm begging you. They're coming in the replay, and your numbers are doubling in the replay. So yeah, don't worry about the numbers at the beginning. They're coming, and then you can always reshare the link out. Take that after you have done your broadcast. If you're doing personal broadcasts where you're sitting on, sitting at your desk or something like that, share that out in your newsletter the next day. Share it out in your text message the next day. Make sure it's embedded on the website, and watch the views go up. Now, if I come to y'all page and I see y'all waiting on a few more people to come in.
Yes, Brother Balcom.
No, ma'am.
Oh, yes. Don't do yourself. That's all.
Yeah.
It is crazy.
Yeah.
And-
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Yeah, we're talking about ministry, but I sometimes go on the business side too, because I'm looking at those who are successful with their streams and their numbers, and I'm watching what they are doing. I'm looking at what they're doing. I'm like, okay, you got 100,000, and we over here with 1. Okay, I need to see what you're doing. So I'm looking at those who kind of closely fit on the business side, what I'm trying to do for ministry, and see how they're doing. And then I try to follow that model a little bit.
Can I
yeah.
ask her a question? How do you stop Facebook from lying about your numbers?
You feel like they do?
Oh, yes, they do it with me. Yes, because I started out, when I first started, I started having 2,000 or 3,000 when I first started. And now I get there, sometimes they'll say 20, 25, and all that. And I know it's
Algorithms.
not
They
true.
changing the algorithms.
Right,
on
the
it.
algorithm.
Yeah, they changing the
Yeah.
they changing the algorithms. Okay, hon, because we gotta wrap up here, but
I'll ask you what that means.
I guess it's probably more of a statement, but then, kind of going back to what you just mentioned. I know there's some people that will record or maybe even have live service, but then they don't stream it live. That way they can kind of edit and things. Because I think a lot of times, a lot of the memes and things about the church in a negative light could be avoided if we took the time to edit some things and things like that, where people that come in social media world, trying to seek church, or sometimes they may not, they may never go into a building, but they see the church from the light of social media, and some stuff is tacky. And so I feel like we can do some editing, or maybe you have some suggestions on that, so that way we don't look so bad, or, when we try to put out stuff in a good light, but sometimes it can come off wrong.
That's a unique space to be in, because if all of your work and your staff is showing up on Sunday to put the service out, and then if they then have to take that file, take it back home, edit and cut, then many of our churches are not staffed to have somebody to go back in and do, so everything's on the fly. So what we would have to do is like what you mentioned, how we have taken the services while we were here, sat down, tailored them, cut them, cleaned them up, had whatever conversations pre-service to make sure that the program flows the way that it should, and to prepare for any issues. I think that might be the resolve, is more meetings before the service. Okay, who's doing what? Where you gonna stand? Okay, who's got the microphone? Who's gonna hand them this? Who's walking this person? That's the part we're missing, is the conversation pre-hand to prepare for what the world we doing.
a run of show. Run of show.
Run a show. We're doing it on the fly.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's where, whether it's in church or any other environment, where we can get something a little bit unique. But I would say the run a show and pre-production. Evangelist Riley and I have done TV, so we're used to run of show and pre-production conversations.
Right.
And after production conversations, honestly.
Post-production, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Conversation.
Well, listen, I want to thank you all, and let me tell you about this. Tomorrow, in the same room, but it will be at 2:30, okay? At 2:30. We're going to have our panel on succession planning. And the question about that is it for the living or is it for the dead? And we have pastors who took over churches after the previous pastor died. And basically, these were both, it was their fathers. And then we have pastors who took over churches where the pastor is still alive. And we're going to ask the question, which is better? They're gone and nobody's in your way? Or they're there and folk are looking over your shoulder to them to see how they responding to what you're doing and what you're saying? We're going to have some good conversation, and one of our key speakers will be our own first assistant presiding bishop, Bishop Mark Talbert, who has just recently gone through that transition. And he's got a unique situation because that happened to him. He took over from his father who was alive. His father took over the church from the founder who was alive. They have always had living succession, okay? But then we are going to have people like Suffragan Bishop Monica Parche Price and Suffragan Bishop John Slaughter, whose fathers died, and then they got the churches, okay? District Elder Christopher Collier, who has Bishop Talbert's church, who is a senior pastor, has that living former senior pastor there, and then Pastor Harold Brooks, presider's son. His dad is right there, still sitting in the bishop's chair, just like Bishop Talbert. How is it? How do you manage that? How do you work that? And how important is it that you have a plan? That you have a plan. We can go at any time. That the churches have a plan. All right? Can we put our hands together for our speakers? Y'all, but these women, they were great today.
This was good.